Hey everyone, this is Tom with Three Brothers RC, and today we're going to talk about antifoams. A lot of you guys get these things and they're tunable, you know they're tunable, but you have no idea where to start. So we're going to use, as an example, today the SCX-10 Pro. It's a nice little rig that the Axial just came out with. And as you can see, we have the antifoams with the tuning rods. And these are the soft antifoams. I'm going to show you today my personal preference for kind of a competition setup. Competition trucks are generally light, like 6 pounds and under. And this combination works really well for that. Actually, it'd probably work in a 7-8 pound truck too, just fine. But this is more competition oriented. So if you can see, I have the tuning rods in, and they're different from the front to the rear. And there is a reason because of that. Generally speaking, most guys prefer the rear to be a little stiffer. And I believe this is because on inclines, all your weight is on the back tires. So if they're really soft, they're going to collapse and won't hold up quite as well. And as you've probably heard, there's no problem either soft or stiff with the antifoam side hill, and they'll still are the best thing out there for side hilling. But what we did here to keep the rear tire from collapsing is we run a diagonal pattern with the tuning rods. So as you can see, they're at an angle, they're in a forward drive. So when you're driving forward, it's harder for it to collapse because of the angle of the tuning rods. And when you're going like in reverse, it falls over really easy. Where you're pushing against these on going uphill, it helps drive the truck forward. So I really like this pattern for hill climbing. And when you're just rolling over regular terrain, you're not driving the back end, it collapses really easy and it's still soft. But on the uphills or when you're driving and need that traction, these diagonals really help. So this is a personal preference of mine for the rear, and it works out pretty well. Now I space them every 2. So you got a row, then you got 2 rows, then another row. So there'll be 8 rows total. And so that, just keep in mind your count, your tuning rod count all through your tires. So you can know how many tuning rods you'll need. And the front tires, as you can see, I have a kind of a star pattern. I know years ago this was popular with cutting foams and diagonals to help catch ledges and stuff like that. And I kind of like that when it's grabbing up a ledge and climbing. I kind of like that star pattern, and it adds a little rigidity to the overall foam. So I use kind of a star pattern, which is 2 smalls on the bottom and 1 big one in between up towards the top. And I do that for both fronts, of course. And then the back, I didn't say this earlier, but the small down here at the inner piece is a 6mm small, and the upper 2 are 8mm larger tuning rods. So if you want to do my personal favorite tune, it will take 1 extra bag of their 32 count of the 6mm and 1 extra bag of the 8mm, the larger rods. And when you do that and combine them with the rods that we supply into the antifoams when you buy them, you'll have plenty to do all of them, no problem. Because we give you, I believe, 16 of each with every pair. So you'll have plenty of rods with just 1 extra, if you get 1 extra bag of each, the small and the big, and you can pretty much do whatever tune you want. Now, if you were to go every other row or really fill them in, you might need a couple more bags. But that's just to give you an idea. But anyway, this is a great little setup for competition and hill climbing in the rear. This diagonal pattern really works well, even better if we would have made it diagonal in design, but we didn't. We let you do that with a tuning rod, so you don't have to have it if you don't want. You can just run them like normal. I've even ran them without any tuning rods at all, and they still work remarkably well. This is just a preference of mine. So anyway, there you go. That's my personal preference for competition. Try it out. You might like it.